Right, so hey everyone and welcome back to another budget photography video. So for me, yesterday was the snow day, the day in London that it snowed. So I obviously went out with the family and we took some really nice pictures. Now some of these I have actually edited, but I thought I'd show you guys how I actually edited them, and I'm really proud of these. These look really nice, if I'm honest. If we actually go to the settings just down here, you can actually see that I've shot at 1/800th of a second, f4 with an ISO of 1600. Now I was actually not very happy the fact that I've used a ISO of 1600, but at the time that I was shooting these images I didn't actually realize how high the ISO actually was. I mean, it doesn't really affect the images bad, but it would be better if there was, less noise around here and, stuff like that. But other than that, the images came out really nice. Now, this is actually a preset that I'm using. Now, I don't normally use presets because I'm not... The way that I see it is that each image tells its own story, but I feel like as if these images in particular are kind of telling the same story, so it didn't really matter. I don't really know which ones we will. As you can see, there was me. This is me failing to replicate the preset that I use. I think it was a Chris Hugh preset or a Peter McKinnon preset. I'm not fully sure, and I just failed at that. So we'll ignore that image. We'll just delete that and we'll pretend that picture never even existed. So we've got pictures here of the little one and my partner, and then some pictures of the moon that I took on my phone because I was mucking around with. I've got the new Note 20 Ultra with a 50x zoom, but we're going to ignore these pictures because they're just me mucking around, and it automatically saves to my camera roll here. But that's perfectly fine. So let's have a look for some really nice ones. So we've got one here of the little one. This one maybe. This looks quite nice. Yeah, he seems to have gone grumpy in the other ones. I'm not going to use a preset in this video purely because I don't really want to. But I am actually trying out a new Apple Pencil actually. So there's that. Trying to sort my iPad out. Now the exposure on this is quite good. As you know, the settings f4, ISO 1600 and 1/800, sorry. And we've captured the snow in the background quite nicely, even the snow on the floor. His hair is a little bit wet because by this point he had actually been out in the snow for quite a while. You can actually see all the snow droplets on his glasses just there, and his coat has gone quite wet, bless him. He had the time of his life. He's 4, bless. So I think we'll just add in some contrast to this. Let's just bring that up a bit. Now, Canon's images are quite notoriously for being high in contrast, so that's kind of okay. You don't really need to add much contrast to it. Let's bring these highlights down, I think. Oh, no, don't want to do that. About there. Then we'll bring the shadows up. We'll bring up some of that detail. We'll bring them whites. Actually, let's bring the whites down. Bring the blacks up. And then it is quite a snowy day, so I think we'll bring in some blue about there. Then we'll go to the color mixing and we'll change individual colors. So I think we'll keep that there. Oh, now that does not look right, does it? Nor does that, really. About there. The main reason that I don't use presets is because I feel like as if it's not really me editing. I feel like as if it's, it's somebody else's edit. In some cases they can look quite nice, but it's not really for me in most cases. Because it's just not how I edit images. So, and that's perfectly fine. Lots of people want to use presets. That's perfectly fine. I just don't like them. You know what? I'm going to go against what I usually say, and I'm going to use, I think, a little bit of a vignette just there like that, just to draw, you know, a little bit more attention to it. Not that you really need to, but and I have a low battery. Believe it or not, I do actually have my iPad plugged in, but I don't think it's charging quick enough because I'm on 8%. So that looks quite nice. That image I'd be happy with. So I think we'll go on to another one. So if we go to the before and after, before and after. So let's actually, So let's actually go to, I've got actually some landscapes. No, yes I do, it's right here. That I took as well. That I'm kind of happy with. I don't mind them. I probably wouldn't keep them forever. But I kind of want to draw back some of that detail because there's quite a bit of detail in the shot. If we underexpose that for a minute, you can actually see here in the clouds there's quite a bit of detail, and what I've just seen is that mark right there on my lens. Come on, there we go. So let's bring that exposure back up again. But I think what we'll do is we'll go to the selective and we will underexpose the sky slightly more than the rest of the image, just so we can bring back some of that contrast within the sky. Just like that. I think what I'll also do is I'll go back to the selective tool. Come on, here we go. And then we'll go up. Whoops. To about there. And then, no, it's not that one. No, it's that one, sorry. Kind of want to just, I'm hoping I can do what I want to do, but it doesn't look like if I can. Trying to dull down the bottom of the sky, we don't want it pink. It looks like RGB. Let's just bring that across. Bring that a little bit warmer. And then that would probably be how I would edit a landscape, really. It's actually quite a nice image. I quite like that. Moving on to the next one. So these ones I've used the preset on previously, and it looks really nice, like really, really nice. But as I said, I'm not going to be using a preset, so we'll find one that I haven't used the preset on. And you see, we have got people in the background of that one. So let's go to this one here, actually. Is that even... So that's quite a nice one, but there is quite a lot of sky up here that I don't really like before we get to, you know, my partner's head. So I think we'll crop that. Ooh. Dropped my pen. So I think we'll bring that in a bit more. We'll bring in some contrast. Underexpose it, lift them shadows, some whites. Bring the blacks down. Bring in some blue, you know, to give it that kind of cold, wintry feel. Then go into colour mixing, and I think we'll just sort out the blues a little bit better here. So that looks quite nice. Now that's something we really want to avoid. The model looks really, really nice in here, but the sky doesn't look, I mean, well, it's fallen apart just there, as you can see. So I think we'll definitely want to bring that back in again, maybe just to about there, like that, and then add some texture, some clarity, some dehaze. I'll take away a little bit of sharpening actually. Normally I would sharpen it, but not today. So that's how I would edit this image, but I like to edit more natural, whereas that doesn't really look natural. I mean, yeah, you know, the trees could have been that color, and the ground could have been that color, but it wasn't. It was green, as these pictures are quite clearly showing. This is kind of an out of camera picture here. This isn't edited at all. So there you got mine. Mine's quite saturated, so I might actually bring the saturation down. And that hasn't really gone to plan. That's gone black and white, although that does look quite nice. So I think we'll bring in the saturation a little bit down, maybe there. Add in lots and lots of saturation. I think we'll just bring it down a little bit. And I think we're adding a little bit more contrast. A little bit of brightness. And then that would be the final image. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me in this video, and I will see you in the next one.